Hello friends, it's me, KITT. When I'm not out fighting crime, I like to follow my friends at NightRiderHistorians.com. Check it out.
Hey guys, Joe here, coming to you from a hotel room in Michigan. I'm actually on a little trip to purchase a car. Nothing Knight Rider related, just something different. And I thought I'd take this moment to go over the Q&A I posted, it was like months ago, asking you for, what your questions are. I did one round of this months and months ago, and it went over really well. And I asked you guys, I was standing in front of one of our original kits, and I asked you guys for your additional questions. So I thought, I have some free time tonight. This is a perfect opportunity to sit down and answer your questions. So I went through and I printed out all of the questions. I'm also going to announce the winner of the Shadow Box. So that's coming up at the end of this video, so make sure you stay tuned. All right, so let's go through these questions. First question. First, I see many fair questions about the details. Would you consider at some point donating the car to a museum for everyone to enjoy, or will you pass it to your children under certain conditions? That's a great question, and it's been something that we've talked about a little bit, AJ and I, over the years. It all depends on the situation. Right now, one of our originals is in the Peterson Museum, and we're so proud and honored to have it there. But it's hard to say, what's going to happen to the cars. But I feel confident in saying that it will probably either go to, I have a son, to him, or to a museum for all to enjoy. But you can rest assured that both cars really are in excellent hands now. And why was William Daniels' name excluded from the credits of the show? Just based on what we've read, it was because he was already doing St. Elsewhere at the time, and I'm not sure if he didn't necessarily take it seriously, but he was doing it as a favor for Glenn Larson, and he just didn't see a need to be credited for it. And I think he thought people wouldn't figure out that it was actually him, but obviously he was quite wrong. All right, next question. Charles Long. Does the jumping kit still exist? The lightweight body that wasn't a Trans Am? So the answer to this is we don't know, but we think it does still exist. And here's why. We have pictures that the dune buggy chassis, not the shell that was put on top, just the dune buggy chassis, we have pictures of it listed for sale in the late 1980s on the side of a road. So I wouldn't be surprised if it did sell and it is still out there. It definitely was not part of the Wrecking Ball day. So it's probably still out there. And we also have additional photos of a rubber shell that was spotted in California about 20 years ago in the early 2000s. Don't know if that still exists either, but there's a chance that both the Flivver car, the dune buggy chassis, and a rubber shell do still exist. All right, Anthony Z Automotive asks, does your original car still have its original engine and transmission? Is it rebuilt or original? So as you know, we have two original cars. So in the one that's in the Peterson, it actually still has its original numbers matching engine and transmission. And I don't believe either one was rebuilt. We suspect, and we talked to Jack Gill about this, we suspect that they did put a little bit more aggressive cam in the engine, but other than that, it's pretty much factory. Obviously, they've removed all the emissions equipment and whatnot. In our other original car, the one that was on Jay Leno's garage, it does have its originals numbers matching engine. The transmission was swapped out. It was originally a 700 R4, but it was swapped out to a turbo 350, which they did with a lot of the original cars. And both of those are original and not rebuilt. But actually the transmission in the one that was on Jay Leno's garage, it's actually leaking quite a bit at this seal where the front seal. So I'd imagine before too long I'm going to have to pull it out and replace that seal. All right, next question. Have you ever thought to convert this screen used car or any screen used car to a totally functioning kit like voice controls, automatic door openings, etc.? Do you think it would be worth it? The answer is 1000% no. We would never, ever, ever do that. That is like painting an additional person on the Mona Lisa, or or something like that. I mean, and obviously the Mona Lisa is a bit more historically important, I guess you could say. But no, we strive to keep these cars original as they were when the show was on the air. So we would never ever change anything on them. Next question. I was interested to know which car was used in the Different Strokes episode. Was it one of the two that you have? The answer is no, it is not one of the two we have. It does still exist. It was the Hero car, and that car still exists, but it was not either of the cars that we have. Okay, hope you guys are enjoying this. Moving on. Let's see here. How did the oil slick work? So as far as we can tell, and we see this, there was kind of two variations. So in the pilot, they actually cut two giant holes in the bottom of the trunk well, and it almost looks like they put some type of bristles or whatnot down through there, and then poured oil down through to let them slowly soak down and onto the ground. But later on in the series, they actually switched that to like hoses and nozzles to spray. It wasn't actually oil, it was like a black water or some kind of viscous film. But as far as we can tell, that's how they did it. Next question. What condition was this vehicle in, the screen used car that was in Jay Leno's garage? What condition was it in when you first saw it, and what episodes of the show was it in? When we first got it, it was in bad shape, very bad shape. We found it in a salvage yard, actually. And it was missing a few parts, but for the most part, it was complete. But a lot of stuff was disassembled and kind of thrown into the car. But there were dents, it was covered in dents all over the place. No rust, because it was a California car, but yeah, it was in pretty rough shape. What episodes was it in? It was in, I believe, 12 episodes that we've identified so far, but I'm pretty sure that's about it. The first episode was in Night Strike. It was in Night of the Juggernaut, Kidnap, Out of the Woods, Fright Night, The Wrong Crowd, Burial Ground. So it was mainly used in the fourth season, but it did have that appearance at the end of the third season. Next question. How did David Hasselhoff react when he first saw this car in New York? Did he believe it was original? Do you have any recordings from this meeting? He reacted just, we didn't have too much time with him, and he reacted just like it was, I guess, any other replica. We had a chance after the interview. We kind of not bombarded him, but we came up to him. We only had like 90 seconds with him, and we showed him call sheets and documentation on the car and whatnot. And we gave him he wanted our contact information, so we gave it to him, but we never heard anything. So I don't know if he believes it's original. My guess is he probably doesn't, because I think he thinks all the original cars were destroyed. Yeah, there is recording of it. I think a number of people were taking video of it at that time. The next question, how did you find this car in the junkyard? And how did it look? Well, I already addressed how it looked, and some photos from the restoration, which maybe I can throw a few in there. We found this car. There was a message board post back in 2008 stating that the car was sent to a salvage yard. It was recently sent to a salvage yard. So we saw that post and we instantly sprung into action, and AJ flew out there the next day And long story short, after 2 days of negotiation, we secured the car. Did your kit ever have any special accessories added to it for a particular episode, such as the power T-top that you see in Knights of the Fast Lane? So that's part one of the question. So the answer to that is we have two cars. So the Jay Leno's car, the Jay Leno's garage car, I would say it didn't have any like episode specific features added to it. It was pretty much just a general purpose stunt car. It does have modifications that pretty much all the original cars had, but nothing specific like a power T-top. Actually, that car was a hardtop car in the show, and then Universal Studios added T-tops whenever they put it on tour and display after the show ended. But our other original car, the one, the Peterson, is actually one of two of the high traction drop down cars. And it still has its hydraulic rams. It has the front hydraulic rams still in place. The rear ones were removed and the hydraulic pump was removed, but the front ones are still in place. So that was one of the two hydraulic high traction drop down cars. And that car was also used in A Good Night's Work and Nightmares. Whenever you see the driver's seat lift up, that was this car. Yeah, so there you go. So that one did have some special purpose to it. And then were there any performance modifications made? Yeah, I mean, they all, like I said, they put a more aggressive cam in, we think. They upgraded the shocks on the cars, different things like that. So there were some performance upgrades. And did David ever drive your car? Yes, he drove both of our cars during the show. So the one in the Peterson, that was actually the insert car for season 2. So anytime, I'd say 99% of the time in season 2, when you see Hasselhoff driving an interior shot, that's our car. And then for our other car, the stunt car, there's video. If you think of Fright Night, there's a scene where KITT's coming. He's parking beside a stage, and his windows are dark. And Hasselhoff, or Michael Knight, says, "What's with the darkened windows, pal?" And KITT says he's wearing his shades. That's our car, and Hasselhoff gets out of it there. Is everything original in your car, or some of it replica parts? So for the most part, they're original. So the Peterson car, it never had a full dash in it from the get-go. It was never the hero car. It was a backup to the hero car at first, and then had other roles. But the dash in it was made from original molds in 1987, and it was toured at the time. So it has a full dash in it now that was not in it when the show was on. But the overhead console is actually the exact same one that was in it whenever it was used in season 2 for the insert car. What I was just saying about when they did close-ups inside and Hasselhoff was filming, that's the original overhead console. And then our other car, it was a stunt car, so it didn't have a dash in it either. But then after the show ended, Universal added the insert dash, which was the dash that sat on a sound stage that they used for all the close-ups, and they put it in this car. So so it has an original dash, but it wasn't in the car whenever the show was being filmed. Let's see here. How did your car look when it came from the factory? That's an interesting question. So we'll go with the Peterson car first. The Peterson car was an 82 black and gold Trans Am with tan interior, just what you'd think KITT would be. The other car, the Jay Leno's garage car, it's actually not a Trans Am. It's a Firebird. It's a 1984 Firebird. It's not an 82. It was kind of a base model. It had some options. It did have power windows, and it came factory with the V8 engine, but it was originally red with a sand gray interior, the base interior that you'd find on a Firebird with a flat hood and all that stuff. And a fun fact, as you know, Firebirds don't have those rear Trans Am stone guards. And when they converted our car to KITT, they put the turbo hood on and the fenders and all that stuff, but they never added the stone guards. So if you watch the show and you see a KITT without the stone guards, most likely it's our car, one of our cars. Let's see here. What was the most surprising part that was broken when you got your car? I guess the neatest thing, I don't know if it was a surprise, I guess it was kind of a surprise. Whenever I was doing the initial inspection and I pulled the rear drums off, a couple of the springs were broken inside the drums. And I concluded that that was probably due to just the line lock and the 180s and just the stunt work that it did back on the show. So I guess it would be those springs. We also found in the control arm underneath, we found, it's called styrolite, I believe, is what Jack Gill told us. Styrolite, which is anytime KITT crashed through a wall or ran over boulders or whatever and they broke apart, that was actually styrofoam. It wasn't real cement or stone or whatever. We found a bunch of it jammed up in the control arm, and we've come to the conclusion, obviously we have no concrete proof, but we believe that that styrolite came from the scene in Out of the Woods where KITT's driving down the road and he runs over those boulders and then he starts talking in a New York accent. That is 100% our car. And the control arm we found all that in matches the side of the car that runs over those boulders. So we don't have any proof, but we think that's where it's from. We now have it in a little glass case to be preserved. Next question, does the blind drive car still exist? Well, there were two blind drive cars. There was a left-hand blind drive and a right-hand blind drive. The left-hand blind drive does not exist anymore. It was crushed. The right-hand blind drive does still exist. Let's see here. Man, you guys asked lots of questions. Do you know if any of the KITT stunt cars that were sent to scrapyards survived and were rebuilt? Obviously, we weren't there. I mean, I was 6 years old whenever the wrecking ball happened, but I'm guessing no. I think from the stories we've heard, they were very strict about those cars being crushed, and I would highly doubt if any of those got out. I'm interested to know what engines were in the cars. Were they all 5.0 V8 or some lower powered ones used? No, most of them were V8s, but there were some that were V6, well, at least one that was a V6, the convertible, which does still exist. It's actually a V6 Firebird. What other stuff were done to the cars other than smog equipment removed and 350 trans swaps? We keep some of this quiet, but the suspension was stiffened in certain ways, and the unibody was stiffened in certain ways. Some of the cars were lowered, but not all of the cars were lowered. The rear end, I believe, is stock on both of the two cars we have. I don't think they made any changes to that. What else? That's about it. How many screen-used KITT cars were used as the hero car? We think only two. I mean, there could have been more, but we think there's only two. There's one for season 1 and 2, and one for season 3 and 4. Both those cars still exist. I guess that's the end of the questions. Just like that. 3 pages of questions. Okay. Well, I guess the only thing left to do now is to announce the winner of the Shadow Box. So we're going to do a random generator on all of the posts, make sure that they qualified, and right now we are going to announce the winner. So before we do, thank you guys for this. If you like these question and answer sessions, let me know in the comments below. And, you know, we'll do more in the future. But I guess that's it for now. Take care, guys. We'll talk to you next time. And congratulations to the winner, being revealed now.
And now, while we listen to Joe's selection of Knight Rider music that we received directly from Don Peake himself, we'd like to thank these Patreon supporters. Look at you guys scrolling up the screen to my right. Wait a minute, how can you tell which side is my right, since you can't see me because I'm not on camera? Oh well, you know what I mean. We're featuring these fine supporters at our Knight Rider Prop Restorer level. Thank you very much for your support. And for those of you at the Knight Rider History Hunter level, we're recognizing you right now in the description. Now, if you enjoyed seeing this golden nugget of Knight Rider history being rescued from obscurity, then please consider supporting us on Patreon. Your support would empower us to bring you even more of these historical nuggets. We are the Knight Rider Historians. Till next time, take care, everybody. Bye-bye.